Okay, yeah, seems like everything's good. Let me collapse this. Allah, time to make some money. Well, possible boring week. I think we're not moving much this week, but the only way I'm gonna trade this week with this low amount of news is leveraging the opening volume. So that's why I streamed early. So I usually open the stream at 9:30 a.m. New York time, but we can do it at 9 a.m., which is now, and give a little analysis on what I think can happen, and then just leverage the opening volume. And I don't want to sit here for 2 hours, 3 hours. I'm gonna try to keep this a 30-minute to 1 hour stream, unless we have different action, because pre-market I'm not really expecting anything based on the price action yesterday. Consolidated, pump up, dump down, come back up, and it's violently balanced, if you want to say. So I'm gonna expect the same type of situation today. Let me just make sure that I can the sound is good. Okay, so I'm just gonna mark up all my zones now and see what we can do, because I'm only looking to leverage the opening volume. View your channel live here. Okay. Yeah, sounds good. Awesome. Okay. Let me open my charts on this computer here. Cool. Okay. So I think we can leverage a nice little squeeze up. I'm not looking for a home run today, just looking to do our job basically. I'm gonna mark down a profile from the range low to where we are now and just take a closer look at what's happening. You can see the auction is very balanced. You do have some higher nodes, like this green node, this green node, this red node, this green node, but the volume is relatively the same size, which is why I expect a balanced auction and why I just want to leverage the opening volume. So I'm gonna even drag it further and take this whole range, and I'm gonna take a look at the value area high over here. Okay, I'm gonna open the daily profile on this chart at the top and just make sure everything is aligned. The daily volume profile, look, we have low volume on the daily, so I'm gonna mark that down over here, which will be around here, which is yesterday's value area high. So if we can sweep into this zone, let me extend it. Let me delete this red over here. If we can sweep into this zone and show some sort of bullish action or bullish orders, some seller absorption, some buyers getting, large buyers getting rewarded, I'm gonna look to leverage the long side of the market from there. But from a local level, from what we're seeing right now on the 1 minute chart, is we had buyers able to push price up, but you can see that they're getting exhausted. As soon as this 78 contracts came in, complete rejection, complete absorption. 83 comes in. Let me delete this line too. This was from another day. It was a whole number I liked, which we tapped into nicely. This buyer got completely absorbed. The seller showed result. This seller showed result. Then went against them. Seller comes in, buyer absorbed. Larger seller comes in, buyers absorbed, buyers absorbed. So we can tell that, yeah, the price is moving up, but you can tell sellers are trying to take control just based on the auction, where buyers are getting exhausted and sellers are getting rewarded when we see the big orders come in. So I'm gonna try to leverage the fact that we know the sellers are gonna higher probability push price down, and if we get any other sellers come in and they're exhausted, they have trouble moving the price down further, the buyers are getting rewarded, then we're gonna look to capitalize off of those buys, and we're just gonna call it a day from there. So yeah, pretty much that's all I'm looking for today. I'm not looking for home runs. I'm not looking for any large moves. I'm not looking to sit here and trade for a long time, but I'm also gonna keep in mind that look at this delta is climbing up, but you can see from the big trades that the sellers are trying to take control. They haven't taken control yet, but they're showing signs that they are. So if we get the absorbed means that these green bubbles are buyers, these purple ones are sellers. So when a green bubble comes in and price instantly goes down, you have this is what you call absorption. You in an auction you have two sides of the party, one person who's buying and one person who's selling. So if this person buys 78 contracts of what I'm trading is NASDAQ, there's another person who's selling it to them too. So they entered 78 contracts and the price instantly went down. So there was a person on the other side who agreed to accept that 78 contracts and more, which means their 78 contracts didn't result in moving price up in their favor. So that's what buying absorption is. It's the same thing for the sell side. Like for example, right here, this seller came in and price moved up. So this seller got absorbed. So there was a buyer on the other side of this who took the 110 contracts and more and was willing to push price up. So that's what absorption and rewards mean. You're going to hear me say these words over and over and over again because this is basically me describing auction market theory. It's between a battle between buyers and sellers and them determining if they want to remain in balance, which is when price stays at the same price and they agree that this is fair value, that's why the price stays where it's at, or we're at an imbalanced market where sellers are getting absorbed and prices moving up, or buyers are getting absorbed and prices moving down. That's imbalance. So this is what absorbed means. So if we come down in price and we see sellers get absorbed where a seller enters and then price starts to move up, I can tell now the sellers don't have enough power as they did from up here. Or if we come in and we see buyers come in and price move up, I can tell that they're really willing to take an aggressive stance in the auction and they are dominating what you call the order book. Is that more of the orders in the book are now buys. So price moves up. So this is what we're going to look for. Pretty much. Market opens in 15 minutes and that's basically our pre-market plan. My higher time frame charts all say that for the next day we might go up, but the really high time frame charts are saying that we can use a decent pullback. So I think that's why the market is staying balanced and not really trending, but it's going left and right, just sideways. So using that information, we're gonna look for price to come down into this yellow zone here, or maybe this white zone. Look for seller absorption or buyers getting rewarded, and we're gonna join that side of the auction. So that's the analysis for now. That's the game plan for now, and we're not looking to stay here for a long time. Maybe take like 3-4 trades and just call it a day. Just because I know that we can move, and then price will just higher probability just sit left and right, and I don't want to watch paint dry because I have things to do today. So that's what the game plan is for now. We have 15 minutes, so I'm just gonna sit back, do my thing, drink something, and we'll get the job done. like this is an example of absorption live, where we don't know what price is gonna do later, but for now the seller got absorbed. Look, he came in, and as soon as he came in, price went up. That's absorption. This is what we want to see, but I prefer to take the trade during the actual opening of the stock market, because this would be a good trade or a good attempt. But now when the market opens, you can go very violent up and down, and it's just not worth it. So, but this is an example of what we want to see, but with a higher contract. So like maybe 100 getting absorbed, because it's a bigger size. You know what I mean? Look, price comes down to the 66 and it goes up again, which means buyers are trying to hold this level for now. But that's not enough information for me to take a trade on. So we're just waiting now. Wait for the open. So it's in our best interest to buy and get absorbed. What is the opposite? It's in your best interest for a large seller to get absorbed when you are buying. It's the opposite of that is it's in your best interest for a large buyer to get absorbed when you're selling, which means you make money as the market goes down. Shorting. So if you are selling from up here and you see a big buyer come in and you're like, oh, this buyer wants to push price up, but as soon as he comes in, price goes down, you know that there's a passive seller absorbing the buyer. So if you're selling, you want it's in your best interest for the buyer to get absorbed. If you're buying, it's in your best interest for the seller to get absorbed, right? Because you're aware that there's market participants who are willing to take that side of the book and be more aggressive and not like a wall. They act like a wall basically. So now what do? We mark this zone down because it's the same price where this seller showed up, right? And so we know that there's buyers defending this level. So what do? I go here, property, and I make this green because I know this is a seller's absorption level. So if sellers break this level, it's gonna accelerate. What's up, Danny? Good, man. I'm waiting 7 minutes, and I'm gonna look to enter a few trades, man. I have this box marked down. I'm looking for. I'm not looking for a long stream today. I'm looking for a very short stream, just based on the fact that we've been in a very balanced market. So I'm looking for a nice, just to leverage the opening volume. Maybe the first 30 minutes, first hour. If we see something, we see something. If not, we don't. But I would have loved for this seller absorption to happen like now instead of 10 minutes. This was when? This was 18. The hour's wrong, but 18. This was around 10 minutes ago. And it was too early, too late before the session starts for me to actually enter off of it. Because I see how this can be a nice squeeze up into these cluster of buyers, and we just take our money and we move on to tomorrow. Because I'm not interested in sitting for so long today. So yeah, we have 5 minutes until the open, and from there we will see what we do. But I am betting on a nice squeeze up, so we'll see how we deal with that. Okay. Okay, seller comes in, buyer comes in. So look, now the buyer got absorbed. The seller came in and showed result. They didn't get absorbed. The buyer came in and price went down. They got absorbed initially for now. So now the story this is telling is that the seller's job here is to input as much volume as possible, required to break where this previous sellers got absorbed. To go where? To break the lows. And then once they take their profits out, that's where we are going to enter, right? If it looks good. But you can see this buyer came in, price instantly went down. That's buyer absorption. That's good if you're selling. Look how the volume here in the bottom is going up, but the price is going down, which means buyers are attempting to keep their entering orders, passive orders and aggressive orders, but the price is failing to materialize that volume relative to price. Okay? Now we have to see if the buyers step in and defend this level. Personally, I think the sellers are gonna dominate this level, meaning the buyers are gonna get screwed. And as soon as we break this level, you should see more purple bubbles coming, which mean more aggressive sellers coming and trying. There you go. But what happened to the seller? As soon as he came in, price went up. So the buyers are trying to defend this level. So now it's up to the sellers to get aggressive again, even more. Because now we know 61 contracts isn't enough to accelerate price down. We need more aggressive sellers. Look, it's struggling to go down. It's really struggling. So you need more sellers to come in, and the price should sweep down to our level here. Let me exactly find a nice, precise pinpoint level where we can actually take a trade off of. This is where we're gonna take a trade off of. Look, we have a couple of options. Okay, so on the left here, the colors is the volume delta, is the amount of volume for each price. So we can see that their sellers have dominated this level here. It's the largest one, so we're gonna mark that down. Okay, we're gonna mark that down as sellers here. We're gonna make it red for sell. Okay, we're gonna mark down this one over here, red for sell. Okay, because if the sellers fail these two prices, and also this one over here, which is also the blue line, which is your value area low, when you're leaving an area of value, and that's your daily value area low. So I'll mark that down too. If the sellers fail to push price further there and get absorbed at these levels, this is where we're going to start looking for trades. Over here. Okay, we have a minute left or 30 seconds left. Now it's going to get serious. So let's focus for a bit. Whatever happens, happens. This is our game plan. We're expecting price to move down into one of these zones. We're going to attempt all of them if the setup shows up. But let's just stay focused. Let me make sure that our orders can go in. Okay, everything's good.
Order cancelled.
Cool. Their market's now open. Buyer comes in, gets absorbed initially. Price wicks down. So sellers are trying to defend this level. That's what I see. But it's a massive amount of contracts, 150. Now this seller's screwed, this seller's screwed, this buyer's trying to push price up. It could be the same buyer. Okay. Let me close this. Put our 15. 10, put the 1 hour here. Okay. So buyers are attempting to push price up, but it's not really working. But the volume's coming up, so if they do enter more, and price should shoot up very aggressively, but it's not a condition I want to enter on. I'd rather enter at a discounted price, not a premium price, meaning a lower price in terms of buying. But I do see how this can shoot up and squeeze, because this 150, look, now this seller got absorbed, got completely decimated. Okay. So if you're fast enough, you can enter off of that. As soon as you see the seller come in and move up, you enter off this buyer and you put your stop loss under the seller just in case he enters again and price moves down. But this is not a condition I want to enter in. So we're just going to stay put. We're going to see what the price does. Okay. Okay, so it comes back to where the buyer moved price up. Let's see if they can use this as a point to push price or the sellers start dominating. Okay. Price comes back down to the buyer and it starts moving up, meaning they're attempting to enter off of the same level. But it's not materializing that much. You should usually see a squeeze. Otherwise it fails with the opening volume. Interesting, it's actually very flat now. I think it's good for our analysis that price isn't moving up from here. It can be. Unless the sellers give up. Okay, nice 1 minute closure. Last chance for sellers to start entering. If they don't enter here, price is gonna rocket up. Okay, yeah. Possibly see buyers get absorbed here. Otherwise, we rocket up. Okay. Okay. Because they're reaching the price where these sellers dominated, so this can be a reload level for them if the buyers are exhausted. That's good for our analysis. I have a 60% probability of price actually going down here. Not that high. But higher than 50. Buyer comes in. Initially price wasn't moving in their favor. I think they're gonna need more steam than 60. Is that 69 contracts? That's like 70 contracts, yeah. Not a not a point of price I want to engage in. Okay, he's not getting rewarded so far. Seller comes in, dominates this buyer. So I can do so. It's too fast. I wanted to enter here and put my stop loss over this buyer. Would have been break even here, but it was too fast. You have to be very quick doing this. Okay. Seller's completely dominating. Okay, this is where we have to focus. Delta's collapsing, but still holding. Price broke the lows, Delta didn't. There are passive buyers trying to keep price from plummeting. If they fail, we will continue. I think they do fail. Okay. Okay, you should see price accelerate to the downside very quickly once we break this zone, this little box. And that's where we're gonna look to capitalize after it squeezes down. Buyers defending this zone again. I think they fail because price isn't moving up, it's just bouncing off of it, but we need more aggression, so I think sellers dominate. That's just based on what I'm seeing from now. Let's see if we can get an acceleration into one of these red lines. Okay, seller comes in, gets absorbed. At the same point, buyers are really trying to defend that zone. I don't like it because it wasn't deep enough. I wanted this to go down much further. Okay, let's see what happens here. I can do something like this. Okay, I'm gonna attempt this. I like how the seller got absorbed, but this is rejecting. So if we break the high, then it's gonna engage. But now
order
it's too aggressive
cancelled.
to the downside. I'm gonna remove that order because we came back up to the 61 seller, and then price starts coming down. That's a reload for these sellers. And now once we engage with these sellers again, now you should see some serious acceleration if we engage with this seller again. I'm not liking this red line now to take buys from unless we have some serious information, because it's really close and I can see the dominance of the sellers. If we come down, not yet. Okay, if we break up again, then I'll be engaged.
Order
Okay,
cancelled.
nothing yet. I'll attempt it with a better sort of risk.
Order partially filled.
Okay. So if we engage with these sellers again, then I'm out. I want to see if the buyers can potentially step in over here. Okay, I'm gonna go risk-free here. Why? Because if the sellers reload this level, we're completely screwed. Let's take it up here possibly, just this as a potential target. But this is where I liked how there's 3 instances of big sellers getting absorbed. It's not an amazing trade, but I can see how this can materialize. Okay, I'm gonna secure 1,000 here. I'm gonna secure 500 here, just in case. Actually, I'll just leave a break even because I see how this can.
Order partially filled.
We were up 2R on that.
Order filled.
But I wanted to see if we could leverage that opening volume to get buyers to squeeze. Unfortunately, we got filled on the break even. But I still see how this can squeeze up. But the reason I kept it break even is just kind of exactly that. This is where I would have started trailing my stop loss and secured profits. But it was too close for me to start trailing my stop loss into profit, because we're still within the first 10 minutes of the open. I wanted to see if we can get a move like that, but unfortunately hit our break even. I think based on these sellers getting absorbed now, I think now you see the squeeze up. Unfortunate, but that's just part of the game. Let me see where would we have hit if we were on 0? Yeah, so even if we had our stop loss at 0, we would have been hit break even. So it's not that I trailed it to secure the commission. It would have been break even no matter what. Okay. So now I don't think we can actually visit these red zones again. That's the problem. Because now we have proof that sellers are getting dominated. The buyers are taking control, and if they start getting aggressive here, sellers are going to capitulate. But all I can do is sit and watch. Until we have some new information. Let's see. Okay. Interesting. Turn Discord off because I'm getting notifications. Okay. Last chance for buyers to step in. If they don't step in here, sellers will dominate. We can use that information to enter a trade, but I need to see some interaction of the larger participants. Because worst case scenario for us now is we got hit break even, and now we enter a zone of balance where we're just going left and right, and that's not the type of price action I want to engage in. So that's a worst case scenario. So we have to figure out if that's what's happening or not. Probability of that happening from a midterm perspective, like a weekly perspective, is high, but I'm still not sure for the rest of the day. I still need 15 more minutes, 30 more minutes to tell and look at the interaction. But for now, we're entering some sort of balance. Okay, look at this seller come in. Let's see if we can get filled on this. I like how we got absorbed. Let's see if we can take a squeeze up. I'm putting my stop loss on the seller just in case he re-engages, and I'm gonna put my limit order on this buyer.
Order partially
filled.
This
is a very low probability trade. Okay,
order filled.
The reason is because we
order
enter
cancelled.
a zone of balance, right? we're in consolidation, but we entered anticipating that there's gonna be some sort of potential squeeze. It's a low probability trade, but it's a jab I'm willing to take. Seller got absorbed again. Yeah, unfortunate. Yeah, that's exactly what we wanted to see. But let's see how price interacts with this buyers. 220 contracts at the high, so I think they squeeze it. I think they succeed in squeezing it because this buyer is getting very aggressive at a premium price, which means he doesn't mind getting aggressive. What we can do is this buyer got absorbed. If we break the buyer with stop loss on this buyer here, and we anticipate a squeeze, this trade I go break even very quickly, because if it doesn't squeeze, it's just gonna collapse, right? But my stop loss is at this buyer over here. Why? Because if he fails and doesn't reload his money right here, then it should, for a higher probability, start to move down.
Order filled.
So now what I'm seeing is that if they don't squeeze up in the next 3 to 5 minutes, we're going to be entering what we call a balanced auction, where we have a large cluster of sellers get absorbed, a large cluster of sellers get absorbed, large buyers get absorbed, large buyers get absorbed, and now they're just saying, hey, it's a balanced auction. The buyers aren't able to push price up, the sellers aren't able to push price down, so we're just going to stay in this cage. So until we leave this cage and have new information, I can't engage here anymore. You're just throwing money to the market by doing that. And that's what I learned by looking at order flow. But still, the probability of a squeeze is high. Like I said, we need 3 to 5 minutes to see if we can leave the cage. Because if we don't within the next 3 to 5 minutes, then we're really in a balanced auction. Because look at the delta, the volume's coming way higher than we were over here. We have 200 extra contracts, but the price isn't. So sellers are trying to stop buyers from squeezing, but buyers are really trying to materialize that squeeze. This is the whole trade we wanted to take, from down here all the way up. This is where I would have taken my money out, but that's not what happened. Let's see if we can do something else here. Okay, so price comes back down to this buyer over here, 70 contracts. What does the price do? It starts to slow down, but then starts to bounce a little bit. He's trying to use it as an opportunity to reload. Buyers need to get more aggressive here. Okay. Okay, interesting. Losing steam. Last chance for this buyer. So we have a cluster. It's the same box I've had for, I think, for like 2 days now. Because if we come back into the range now, then I'm gonna say we're in a cage, and we're gonna need some serious new information to start engaging again. But 2 unfortunate positions. Break even goes up, loss goes up. That's the reality of trading, especially when you're trading the opening, first 30 minutes of the stock market opening. That's where it starts to get high risk, high reward, and this is the perfect example of that. So good analysis, but the execution was off. Would I take these trades again? 100%. Okay, buyers losing steam. Sellers trying to dominate. Could probably take a short back into balance based on our analysis that we're probably going to be balanced. So this is a possible opportunity. If price breaks, I'd want to take it a bit higher. Yeah, need to be much faster for that one. Okay, let's see what the buyers do, because these sellers are trapped, these buyers are now trapped. They don't want price to go down to these sellers because they'll re-engage. 5-minute closure, huge rejection candle. Okay. Take something like this, possibly. Yeah. Attempt a reversion back into these sellers.
Order partially filled.
I like this 5-minute closure. So if we can go down now to this 220 contracts, let me just move it to the actual guy over here. If we can go down to this 220 contracts, because look, the sellers, they're trying to come in. They understand that if buyers fail here, we're going to completely plummet in price. But buyers are protecting this level, and that's why I'm taking this trade, because I can see that too. I can see if the buyers fail to push price up after getting a 5-minute closure like this, with a rejection candle like this, they're gonna completely fail. So right now I'm gonna go risk free. Why? Because if this seller gets absorbed and this aggressive buyer is able to push price up, we're gonna give all our money back to the market. So no need to risk anything. Okay, now I'm gonna trail my stop into this buyer over here. Why? Because if these sellers are unable to push price down, then it will go back up to our entry. Okay, now we secure 2,000. Why? Because if this seller gets absorbed, we're gonna give money back to the market. And if we go down under the seller, we're gonna move our stop loss to
order partially
let's
filled.
Just take that out. So now we see that
Order
this
filled.
seller got absorbed. We
Order
saw
cancelled.
before when we entered, this guy came in right after. He's understanding that there's a huge rejection candle, and if buyers failed to provide enough steam to move the market up, and then this buyer came in and failed to push price up, the sellers completely are telling everybody in the market that, hey, we are dominating. Price went down as soon as we interacted with these sellers. They tried to re-engage, but they failed to re-engage. So we move our stop loss above these sellers over here. Why? Because if this seller gets absorbed, and there's a passive buyer protecting price, these sellers are going to get completely destroyed and move price up to 220. So now what you should see is, if you don't see any seller aggression, price should come back up to this 91 and 220. That's what has a higher probability of happening if we don't see any seller aggression. Are we seeing seller aggression? No. So the probability every second just keeps getting higher that we retest this 91 and 220. I don't want to give that money back to the market, especially that we were in like 1,000 loss. And we made 2,000 on that trade. So now we're plus 1,000. So let's just be more conservative now. Why? Because we had an aggressive move down before the open, aggressive move up at the open. Now we have an aggressive move down 25 minutes after the open, which means we're more likely to go into a zone of balance. And that's what you're seeing on the 5-minute chart. So no seller aggression. What does price do? It starts moving up to the 220.91. This is how you read the auction market. Would I have entered on this? Yeah, tough one. I'm not gonna lie, a tough one. I can anticipate why price can move up, but I'm not interested in engaging off of it, because I don't want to give money back into the market if we're gonna be going sideways, and I know we're not gonna be volatile. So look, price is coming back onto here, and the buyers are attempting once again to re-engage aggressively. I could short this again, but the buyers have a different story now. They're willing to pay a premium price again to enter the market, right? So a trade I can take is a buy stop over this large seller and a stop loss under these sellers over here. So if we do rally up very quickly, that's a trade I can take. But this trade will only be entered if we touch this seller and the buyers prove to me that they have enough steam. But now I have to cancel the order. Why? Look at this
Order
1 minute
cancelled.
candle closure. The buyer closed within the wick. So the probability of us going higher is lower, and the probability of us coming back down once we break this 111 seller is also higher. So I'm not willing to engage anymore. But if we rocketed up and this buyer showed respect and result, I would be engaged and my stop loss would be under these cluster of buyers. Look, now this seller comes in showing result. This buyer came in, got absorbed. Now what are the sellers trying to do? They're trying to dominate price. So what can you do? I can enter a sell stop here and put my stop loss above these sellers.
Order partially filled.
I'll attempt that. Okay, the
Order
seller's getting
filled.
absorbed. I'm gonna lower the risk by 100. Actually, I'm gonna lower the risk by a bit. Let's see. No, I'm gonna keep the risk. It's because I can see how sellers can push price down, but buyers are defending this level. Last chance for sellers. Last chance for sellers.
Order
Okay,
partially
so
filled.
the sellers got completely absorbed
Order
once again at
filled.
the same exact zone. I didn't think they would enter again after this level of aggression and not materialize price down, but the stop loss was at these sellers over here. Why? Because if they capitulate, we're just gonna come back up, and I don't want to give money back into the market. But the reason I took that trade is because we're in profit. You know, we're leveraging the fact that we're in profit to enter. Sellers coming in and getting completely absorbed, but if they do materialize, I want to engage with them.
Order partially filled.
Last time, last chance,
Order
last
filled.
chance. Okay. I'm risk free just in case. Because
Order partially
if they
filled.
fail to move price
Order
down
filled.
from the same point they keep getting absorbed at, I know there's huge buyer liquidity here trying to hold price, and I'm not willing to give my money back to the market. But this is it's a tough environment to trade. I'm not gonna lie, it's a very tough environment to trade. Okay, so I have a few more trades in me before I'm possibly gonna call it a day, because after price action like this, I'm not gonna sit and just watch the price move up and down and do nothing. So let me just try to figure that out. Seller aggression, seller aggression, seller aggression, seller aggression. Initially showed result. Now they're having a harder time. So are we gonna break the range and break the cage, or are we going to compress and stay within the cage? That's the question I'm trying to answer now. The probability of sellers winning now is higher because they're getting aggressive and they're showing result. But then if we come back up and show the same thing, the probability just keeps ping-ponging within each other, and I'm not willing to just keep engaging. This is a day where you take your trades, you take the whatever money you made, or if you have a loss, you take that small loss and you just walk away. You don't look for home runs, and we said this before the market opened. We're not looking for home runs today. Okay, sellers are failing to push price down. Let's see what happens. Okay, now they're showing no result. Let's see if they can reload. Okay. Okay, interesting. Like, I see how we can go up, but I also see how sellers can engage again from this point and we come back down to the lows. So the risk to reward here is not worth it. Unless I have some new information. Okay. If I see another seller get absorbed, I'm gonna want to enter on this, but only if a seller gets absorbed at this exact price. Why? Because this is the same price where these large cluster of sellers came in. Around here, okay. Okay. Oops, that was a bit high of a contract size. Okay. So if price comes back up to these sellers and this buyer is showing result, I'm going to be engaging at that level, anticipating a squeeze back up to the seller reload level. But that's if the buyer shows result. Okay, I'm not liking this closure, but I still can anticipate a squeeze. Look how the price isn't going down or up, but it's bouncing on this buyer. That can be a good thing for us because it means we can set up for a squeeze and go risk-free very quickly. So this is a low probability trade, but it's a trade I do like.
Order partially filled.
Okay, let's see if we can squeeze
Order
now.
filled.
Okay, I go risk-free here. Why? Because if these sellers dominate, we're gonna get screwed. If the buyers don't show up here, the price is gonna come back down. So there's no reason not to go risk-free here. Low probability trade. Okay, delta's climbing. Let's see if buyers can get aggressive. Last chance for buyers. If it doesn't, we're gonna reject. Okay, there's the buyers coming in. They're attempting. Let's see if they get absorbed or show result. Just in case we squeeze high, but I think we hit stop loss just based on the amount of orders that came in here. One more chance for buyers. Delta is still positive. Let's see if we can take a squeeze. We need price to move up from here, because another buyer came in but price isn't moving up, so it's not enough orders. They need to get more aggressive. Sellers need to capitulate at this zone. Okay, last chance for buyers to show up. Otherwise, these sellers reload and complete absorption.
Order partially filled.
Complete absorption.
Order filled.
The reason I kept it break even
Order
because
cancelled.
I could anticipate how this could squeeze higher, but I don't want to lose money on this, you know? I don't want to lose money on a trade like this, knowing that these buyers initially got absorbed. Like, this is what we needed to see happen, because now it should start getting very aggressive. Look at the delta flying up, but the price is down, which means if these buyers materialize, it's going to squeeze and we're going to break the range high. Okay. They're not showing that much results, still stuck in the cage. We can re-engage if price breaks above these buyers. Let me actually do this. Only if they find the volume to re-engage. Huge buyer absorption, so it's gonna be a buy stop, because we can only enter if buyers find the juice or the steam to engage again, and my stop loss will be under this buyer, anticipating a quick squeeze, and it will be risk free once we break the high or touch this 77 seller. But the longer this waits, the less interested I'm in this trade. Okay. Yeah, I'm not liking this anymore. I'm not
Order
liking this anymore.
cancelled.
It's not as volatile as I expected. Possibly stuck in compression. But let's see if we did engage. Let's see if I would have hit my stop loss. I just like how the delta is coming up. But now the fact that price isn't materializing with the delta coming up means there's just huge sellers trying to stop the price from going up, which means delta is probably going to collapse and we're going to have a compression. And I don't want to be stuck in compression. So if sellers don't dominate here, we're going to be stuck in compression for the rest. I'm anticipating for the rest of the day. And I don't want to be involved in that. Okay. Seller reload level failed.
Order partially filled. Order filled. Order partially filled. Order filled.
Sorry guys, I got a phone call and I saw a trade in between. Tempted this buyer coming in, but as soon as I saw the seller coming, I had to go over a key. Look at this delta is flying up, but the price is holding down. Okay. Yeah, guys. Feel like we're gonna be watching paint dry. I'm just gonna give it not that much longer, but I don't want to give money to this market. Or if we do enter trades, we just go quick 1-to-1, 1-to-2. That's the only way I can trade it. So we take our money out. But look at this volume just climbing, but the price is completely opposite. Look at this 5-minute candles. Look at this. The whole candle's deep red, but this delta is 1,000 contracts of NASDAQ. It's like you want to engage with it, but nothing's happening, and you don't want to just keep hitting stop loss, stop loss, stop loss. So, you have to be very careful here. It's super high risk to reward. Yeah, so I wouldn't aim for 1-to-3s, 1-to-4s in this type of market. It will just have to be 1-to-1, 1-to-2. Just get your money in and out, take a few trades, and just leave. Okay, potential squeeze here. I'm gonna keep it very tight. I'm not gonna risk much. I'm gonna risk like 60% of the initial position of the full position I would usually take, because I see how we can get chopped out. Yeah, no,
Order cancelled.
Complete domination. That's why I like buy stops environments like this. Because if it breaks, then you engage. But if it doesn't break, you don't engage. Oh, man. Yeah, guys. I'm not gonna... Because if all these buyers get absorbed, then we can visit our prices down here and then we can look for buys. That's the best case right now. But the fact that we had to move down and up and back down, the probability of compression just goes higher and higher, and we keep bouncing off of the value area low. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not gonna take this buy stop again just based on this huge rejection candle. Look at this 5 minute, another one, the complete neutral candle, but the delta is closed at 750 contracts. Man, this price action is crazy. This is a day where I probably just observe. It's only saying that a violent move is going to happen very soon. That's the only thing it's saying. Let's see if we can engage off this. If he materializes, put our stop loss under him, and we go for 1 to 2 quickly. Seller gets absorbed. Let's actually change the position now. Buy stop will be above these buyers, and the stop
Order
loss under
partially
the seller.
filled. Order filled.
Oh, that's so violent.
Order partially
guys,
filled.
Yeah, now we're just gonna wait for our
Order
zone.
cancelled.
Or is this gonna be the same thing we saw today, where we just keep getting hit break even and the price goes in our favor? I think now sellers start to aggress again. This is crazy price action. Not really the price action, but the volume is just, buyers are getting screwed. Huge amount of contracts being entered, but the sellers are just holding it down. So I love reading an auction like this. So let's just wait for our zones. We never even tapped into them, because otherwise I'm just gonna stay at break even 0 for the day. But I attempted everything I could. Unfortunately, we couldn't materialize and profit off of the big move. But now my risk tolerance is lower until we hit our zones, you know? Okay. Price should start to get very aggressive. The probability is higher to the downside now, but who knows? Who knows at this point? Okay. Right there into our zone. Okay. Let's see if we can squeeze. Okay. No.
Order
Delete.
cancelled.
Okay. If this seller gets absorbed, it's a huge seller. We can go back to the range. Very tight stop loss because price is very aggressive. High conviction trade, but probability is low. Okay, seller is dominating, showing result. We need to see another seller come in and move, and price moves up. This shows that there's passive liquidity. Otherwise, the probability of this being a seller reload level is higher.
Order partially
Okay,
filled.
let's see if we can squeeze now.
Order filled.
If it's a seller reload level or it's a squeeze. It's one or the other. Okay. I'm lowering, yeah, risk free. What the fuck? Yeah, guys, I'm out.
Order cancelled.
I didn't even know how to react to that, guys.
Order
to be
partially
honest,
filled.
I didn't know how to react to that. That was too
Order
fast.
filled.
The fact that this seller came in and didn't show any result, I couldn't even have a chance to set my take profit. So the fact that this seller was coming in our zone, we marked down before the market opened, which was a high delta, and then the buyer came in. We put our buy stop on the buyer. Look at these contracts. Look at these contracts. We put our buy stop on top of the buyer, anticipating a squeeze if he breaks. The buyer and the seller gets absorbed, and we put our stop loss on the seller. Because if they use this point of price as an opportunity for a seller reload, then it continues going down. And why did I market close out? I usually trail my stop loss and move price up, and move my stop loss as price moves up, is because the market has been showing me that we're in a zone of balance. We're in a zone of complete compression. So why would I take a trade that I profited 1 to 6 on, right? Almost 1 to 7, and just completely give it back if the market's proving to me that it's in compression. But if this was a trending type of day, I would have loved to just keep this trade and let it squeeze further. But this is not something I have a lot of experience in. Seeing delta like this, look at this delta on this 5-minute candle here. Look at this cluster, okay? Small green candle, delta's big, huge. Fully red candle, huge delta, 1,000 contracts. Neutral red candle, 750 contracts. Here, huge wicks up and down, 790 contracts. But the market isn't doing anything. So in times like this, you need to go back. Like now, after this stream, or after the day is done, or in the weekend, I'm gonna go back and find days like this, where you have the delta just completely climb. You have 5-minute candles consecutively closing neutral or red, but the delta massive, 1,000 contracts of NASDAQ is huge. What happened on those days? I don't have enough information. So I have to be very discretionary because I can't be quantitative here. What I would have loved to do is go break even and just trail my stop loss, but the move was too quick. The move was too quick, and the fact that we were in a compression range, I didn't want to just give money back to the market. And also the second reason, which is intuitive, that's why I didn't say it, is if we have a move that big, that quickly, it's a possible that it's a news candle. And it's just somebody said something, a piece of news came out, and now it just rebalances and goes down. So I'm not willing to give money back to the market, especially that I'm considering compression. But in terms of analysis, in terms of execution, the best thing we could have done was just follow our pre-market plan and not take any trades here, right? So that's something I'm going to think about. But we saw nice opportunities. And once we recognized it was compression, we started lowering our risk tolerance until we tapped into our zones, which we marked down pre-market. So it was one of the three or all of them. But guys, to be honest, I'm not going to trade now, right? I don't want to trade. Why? Because we said it in the beginning of the stream. So thank you to everybody that showed up. I appreciate you all. Nice little informational day. A nice little trades we took, and unfortunate that we couldn't profit off of the other ones. But that's just how the game is, right? You can't feel sad when you lose. You can't feel happy when you win. But just learn from these situations, right? But yeah, guys, thank you so much. I'm keeping this stream short, and I have a lot of things to do right now. So thank you to everybody who showed up, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Of course, man, of course. Have a good rest of your day, guys. I'm just gonna wait for the delay to catch up and close it.